What I'm going to do next is show you a little bit more of the technical side of OutSystems and what it looks like as a developer as you're managing and maintaining both web and mobile applications in OutSystems. The first thing that you'll notice whenever you log into the OutSystems platform is a number of different icons here, and all of these different icons represent applications that we are building or applications that have features and functionalities that support other applications. So it's very, very easy to search and find the application that you're working on here. And over to the left-hand side, you can see a number of different points of interest, including delivery, monitoring, and users and access. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but real quick, for example, if I wanted to get an overview of where these applications are living in the software development life cycle, I can click on Overview and I can see the applications on the left-hand side. I can see a number of applications in develop. I can also see what applications are currently in QA and production environments. So all that's here at your fingertips. As well as monitoring. So for example, under the monitoring section, I can click on the application health link and it'll take me to a dashboard which will show me the health score of the applications, as well as a response time, different error messages. So a lot of good information here right at my fingertips that I can access. Now, what I'm going to do real quick to move on is click on the apps link up at the top, and you'll notice over here on the right hand side of the screen there is a button that says download ODC Studio. You can download and install that client, and then you can utilize our IDE to build applications. So let me go ahead and switch over to the OutSystems Studio IDE, and then we'll take a look at what we can do here. So the first thing that you'll notice in OutSystems ODC Studio is all of the icons just like we saw in the browser view. And very quickly I can go up here to the left and do a quick search and find the applications that I need. So here's a subset of applications that I'm working on. And the use case for this demo is going to be the Neo United soccer team. It is a major league soccer team, and I have been tasked as a developer to add some screens, add some features and functionality to this website. So here we're looking at one screen that's already been created. We have a nice graphic design for this website, and I'll give you a quick overview of the ODC Studio before I get started. Over here on the left hand side we can see these widgets that we can drag and drop over to the visual canvas, which is in the middle. There's a number of different ways in which we can view our application. Up here to the left hand corner you can see that I can see what this application is going to look like on a tablet as well as a mobile device, and then I can go full browser view. We also have some formatting options up here, very, very easy visual ways in which we can adjust the color schemes and the CSS. And then over here to the right hand side, everything in OutSystems is really packaged into 4 different layers, what we call layers. So starting from left to right, we have business processes and timers that we can build here under this layer. The interface layer is of course going to be where you're going to build out the visual components of the screens. And here you can see under the main flow we have one screen that's already been built. And then we have a number of what we call blocks. So blocks are actually shareable components that we can utilize throughout our web application, and we can also once again share those with a companion mobile application. Under the logic layer, this is of course where we're going to build out the server and client actions, and this is also an area where we can integrate with different REST or SOAP integrations. And then finally, the last layer is the data layer, and this is of course where we're going to be working with the data. So we can build our own data model here, or we can connect to existing data sources and then bring that data into the OutSystems environment very, very quickly. So before I make a change, what I'll do is I'll click the Open in Browser button that's at the top of the screen, and we can see a quick layout within the browser of what our web application looks like. Looks pretty good. It has a really nice graphic design layout. On the front screen though, I can see a number of different products, and I have been tasked with adding a screen with a link to the top up here that will take the user on over to the web application screen where they can see all the different products in our database. So to do that, I'll go back to the interface layer, right click on main flow, and choose the add screen option. Now when I do that as a developer, I can see a number of screen templates that are already created here that I can utilize. So I'll choose the 4-column gallery, and I'm going to give it a different name. I'll give it the name Team Gear and click the Create Screen button. Now, when I do that, OutSystems is going to create a brand new screen based on that template. But that screen is bringing in some sample data. And in my database, I have a team product database table with the products that I would like to show in the web application screen that I'm working on. So it really is as easy as drag and drop. I can replace that sample data with the data that's in my real database, and then I can go back and work on the layout. So back on the Team Gear screen, what I'll do is browse on over to the widget tree, and I'm going to delete one of the widgets that's here and add my own card widget. Now this card widget has some pre-designed CSS and visual elements that I can easily drag and drop to the screen, and then I can begin to go ahead and continue working on this. So what I'd like to do is add an image here. That image, however, instead of being a local image, it's going to come from my data set. And notice whenever I change it to binary data from local data, it automatically points me right to that data point in the database. So pretty easy stuff. I'll browse back over to the data layer once again, and I can go ahead and simply just continue to drag and drop these different data points. I might want a name of the product, a description, maybe the price on this screen, and I can just drag and drop those items over and make sure everything looks good, right? So I'll go back to the element screen. You'll notice down in the left-hand corner I do have a message telling me that, hey, we're looking for a product ID, and the reason that we need a product ID is we want the correct product to be on each one of these cards when it loops through the list. So once again, easy drag and drop. Drop-down menu allows me to find that data point very, very quickly, and then I can continue working on the screen. Now, another section over here, we have the different categories. So once again, this is drag and drop functionality here. I can go back to my categories, and I can simply drag and drop them over and replace the category names. So that should take care of that. And then there is a slider down at the bottom. I'm going to make some adjustments to this slider as well. I know that I have a variable here on this new screen that I've created, and it's going to represent the max price selected. So I'm just going to drop that down from $1,600 to $100. We don't really have that many expensive things in our catalog, and I'll need to make that same adjustment down here in the properties of the slider itself. So now if everything goes well, I should be able to see my products displayed on this screen as well as the different categories. The slider should work and everything should look really nice. But to test this out, I will need to click the one-click publish button up at the top. What that's going to do is going to take the model that I've been working on in ODC Studio and publish it to the application server. Now, behind the scenes, OutSystems is going to take care of writing all of the code, updating any of the database tables with the different database scripts that may need to be utilized. And all the while, as a developer, I can see down here in the left-hand corner in the one-click publish window exactly what's going on behind the scenes. So at this point, it's generating and compiling the optimized code, the scripts, and then when it's successfully done publishing this, I should get a message to let me know that I can now preview it in the browser. Okay, so if all goes well, whenever we click the Open in Browser button, it should launch our application in the browser window. We can see that a new link has been added here to the top. Whenever I click on that Team Gear link, I can see all of the products that are in my database, and I can scroll down and take a look. This screen looks pretty good. Everything should work here as well. I should be able to utilize this slider. As I slide the price, I can see the different products that fall within that price range, and I should also be able to click on the different filters and filter by the product type. So if I click on hats, sure enough, I can see the Neo hat here in the browser window on the screen. So let's add one more screen real quick, and then we'll take this application from the development environment on over to Q&A so that we can test it out. Okay, so moving back into the development environment, what we'll do is once again right-click on the main flow and we're going to add a screen. But this time, instead of using a template, I'm just going to go ahead and start with a blank screen, and I'll give it the name Team Gear Detail. Whenever I click the Create Screen button, it should pick up the look and feel of the other screens in the application. And the idea is that I want to go from the Team Gear screen over to the Team Gear detail and see the product details. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and add an input parameter. This will be product ID. And that way we'll know exactly what product to display on the detail screen. Now, in order to do this correctly, I'm going to need to make sure that the data type is mapped on over to that identifier. So I'll scroll down until I find the right product identifier, and then now I can go ahead and bring the data to the screen. So I'll choose Fetch Data from a data source, drag and drop my team product data, and then I can add a filter that will allow me to go ahead and filter out based on that product ID. So real quick, I'll drop down, make sure that the team product ID is going to match to that input parameter, and that should filter out the products accordingly. Right now, I can also go back and make some adjustments to the query here. I don't necessarily need this other sample data that was added. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those joins. I should have one filter, and I should have exactly the information that I need now for this screen. So back to the visual side of the screen, I can go ahead and open that up again. And this time I'm going to drag over the product detail card that I've already created. It picks up the look and feel once again of the application, and I can continue to modify this screen. So first thing that I want to do as far as the visuals is go ahead and drag and drop an image. That image is actually going to be coming from the database, so I'll need to make that change and map it over to the correct data point. Now, for the rest of the data, I can once again simply just drag and drop this data over. Maybe I want to add the name, the description, the price of the item, and you can see that it's very, very quick and easy to build out these types of screens in OutSystems. Now, one last thing that I need to do, I'm going to go back over to one of the other blocks that I had previously created, the product card, and we'll need to change some functionality here. Whenever they click on this card, we want to send them over to that new screen that we just created. So we will choose the Team Gear detail screen, and of course we want to pass over the product ID to that screen so that whenever they click on the product on the Team Gear screen, it should take them to the correct product on the Team Gear detail screen. So to finish this up, I'll go ahead and click the one-click publish button. We'll give it a second to publish. And once that publishing process is complete, I should be able to click the Open in Browser button. We can preview this from the home page in the browser. Click on the Team Gear section, and sure enough, I can see the products. I should be able to click on the item detail, and now I can see the detail of the product on the detail screen. So this looks pretty good enough to take on over to Q&A. So let's take a look at how we can take this application from the development environment on over to Q&A test. Here across the top left, I still have the tab open for the environments, and I'm going to go down to the deployment section. Here you can see that I can take a look at recent deployments, and I can choose the option to deploy to the QA stage environment. So when that's done, I can simply do a quick search to find the application that I'm looking for. Here you can see the Neo United application is in development, and of course I want to take that over to Q&A. So this is a relatively quick process. Whenever I click the continue button, it's going to take you through the stages of, first of all, analyzing the impact, and there's a lot of automation that's going on behind the scenes here, and very quickly it lets me know that it is ready to deploy. So I will click the Deploy Now button, and we'll take this application from dev all the way to Q&A. Once that has finished successfully, I can click the View App button in the upper right-hand corner, and now I can view this application and see the changes that I've made, but we are in the QA environment instead of the development environment. So in summary, what we've been able to do here in just a matter of about 10 to 15 minutes is create two brand new screens in an application with OutSystems, and also take those screens from the development environment on over to the Q&A test environment.